Good afternoon. A very warm welcome to everyone joining us today from across Southeast Asia. Well, we have all participants joining us live today from Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, and even Australia. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you, right? All right. So my name is Vioni, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today's session, SunFish Engage Regional Webinar, hosted by DataOn SunFish HR, the leading enterprise HR solutions in Asia. So SunFish Engage bring together HR leaders across Southeast Asia to explore how we can build a practical decision engine for HR. And thank you for taking the time to be with us for being part for this regional conversation. Before we begin today's session, allow me to provide a brief overview of our agenda today. So the session will run for approximately 90 minutes, including the Q&A at the session. And after our speaker session conclude, we will continue with the Q&A. And please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box at any time during the session. And kindly remember, when submitting your question, please include your name, company, and also followed by your question. Later at the end, we will also display feedback QR code form. This form is required in order to receive the webinar presentation materials and exclusive bonus. So what is the bonus? As an additional takeaway from today's session, we will also be sharing an exclusive resource, the 2026 HR Readiness Checklist. And this is a practical assessment to help HR leaders reflect on how prepared their organization across key areas such as strategy, skills, performance, manager capability, technology, and compliance. And we will send it a few days after the webinar. And to receive it, we kindly ask that you complete the feedback form that will be shared at the end of the session. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who may not be familiar with DataOn, but I believe you're already familiar, right? Allow me to briefly share some information about our company. Established in 1999, DataOn is leading technology provider with over 26 years of experience in driving business success through innovation, automation, and performance-driven solution. Through our SunFish HR product line, we deliver end-to-end human resource management systems and as well as payroll outsourcing, designed to streamline operations, enable cross-border collaboration, and support sustainable growth across industries. And today, DataOn proudly serve over 2,000 active clients and support more than 1 million employees across Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And before we move further, let me briefly introduce SunFish HR. So SunFish HR is designed for enterprises managing complex HR environments, whether that means larger workforces, multiple entities, or the needs for stronger control, visibility, and alignment across the employee journey. It helps organizations simplify HR complexity or centralize essential data, improve employee experience, and support more strategic data-driven decision. Well, and I know many of you are here, especially to hear Mr. Gordon's perspective. So I won't to keep you too long. So please welcome Mr. Gordon. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Gordon Mr. Gordon Enns, CEO of DataOn. Hi, Mr. Gordon.
Hi, VL.
Yeah, under his leadership, Ms. DataOn has grown into one of Southeast Asia leading enterprise HR solution providers, serving thousands of organizations across the region. All right, Mr. Gordon, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you with us. Without further ado, Mr. Gordon, the stage is yours.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for the introduction, VO, and thank you to all our guests joining us today from many different countries. I think we have some exciting content and updates to share with you today. Um, just to get started, a little bit of background on myself. I started DataOn in 1999. It's been about a little over 26 years now since we built the company. At the time we started the company, DataOn was one of the few software companies in Southeast Asia and especially in Indonesia. That was a pretty early time for software and SaaS tech companies, and a lot of the market was undeveloped. And we looked at a lot of different solutions and software. By 2001, we had decided primarily to focus on HR technology. And we had our early versions of our SunFish technology out into the market by then. Over many years, we worked hard to develop the market in Indonesia and to support our many excellent customers. Many, even back from the very early days, are still with us and still on the latest versions of SunFish. And we also expanded our business throughout Southeast Asia. Originally, we looked at the Indonesian market as being a lot of opportunity where we could make a difference. But as our software became more powerful and widely adopted, we were able to see opportunity for us to support customers in many other countries. Today, we primarily service the Southeast Asian market. Altogether with our group, we have actually now over 5,000 organizations across our multiple platforms with over 2,000 on SunFish alone. And overall from the group, we support about 2 million employees now with a little over 1 million active on the SunFish platform. By being a regional provider, we get a lot of opportunity to talk to HR leaders and customers and companies in different countries. And it gives us I think, somewhat unique perspective on how HR is developing. And I'm hoping to share some of that with you today, combined with, how we're looking at it and how we feel the technology can benefit our customers in some of the many challenges that we have in business and particularly in the HR and HCM space. Today I want to talk about mostly how HR continues to evolve from an administrative support function into a strategic decision engine, and how we're supporting that. Mostly by looking at how HR leaders can move along the pathway from kind of data gathering and administrative functions to data insight and finally to I think where we're headed today towards things like AI supported decision making and better data analytics supported decisions. This is really looking at how HR is evolving from a system of record to a system of decision making. I think historically HR, back from the early days when we started the company, a lot of our customers were primarily focused on things like compliance, payroll, and attendance. But today the real value is about how do we turn a workforce data into better business decisions. And as we're looking at this in combination with how fast technology is moving around new things in the AI space, we're starting to see that HR technology can become a decision engine to support CPOs, CHROs, and companies in general around this journey. We'll cover some of the main ideas today about what's changing in the global workforce, how does HR evolve into a decision engine focused process, and how tools like AI hubs and workforce intelligence, particularly of course SunFish, are able to support this. But before we talk about technology, we need to understand what's happening in the workforce, and at least from my perspective, and what we've heard from customers, how the workforce is changing. I think what we're seeing and what we're hearing is that global workforce is not really shrinking, but rather it's restructuring. Hiring, according to LinkedIn Global Workforce Report, has been slowing since and not really recovered since the pandemic. Within that space, the hiring remains relatively stable, I would say. But we're seeing new categories of work emerge, things like AI engineers, prompt engineering, AI operations specialists. And these are not just a tech concept anymore. It's something that's starting to work its way into other business processes, and from our perspective, especially into the HR space. I think what we're looking at is not really a change in the levels of workforce, but rather maybe a bit of a skills transition. And if one thing I think we talk to our customers about is, have they really thought about how many of your organizations today are looking at reskilling employees for the use of AI? And the common answer is that yes, we're all looking at that. But do we have defined plans and objectives and a strategy to get there? And this is where things are still, I think, somewhat challenging. I think one of the topics we're covering is, and the World Economic Forum released a report on this that I think puts it quite well, is that there's two real future possibilities for organizations. And a lot of that is going to depend on workforce readiness, where winning organizations are probably going to be more focused on a supercharged process where tools like AI and other new technologies are making changes and helping their business, or an alternative outcome where things are perhaps a little bit more challenging and then will require more rethinking in the future. Around the AI process, if we're looking at that, so AI adoption is something I think we're probably all familiar with, something that we can see coming, even though I don't think anyone quite understands exactly where it's going to end up. But one thing we know for sure is that companies are looking at today how will human AI collaboration work, and how can we utilize that to get faster productivity growth? If we ignore those trends, then we run some risk of AI still working its way into our business, but ultimately then being forced into rapid automation that we're not really prepared for, and some risk of skill gaps and more disruption to our organization in the future. So what we want to cover today is that it's a process. AI success will depend on the readiness of your organization as these things are coming, and not just blindly accepting automation or letting AI somewhat dangerously into our organizations when we're not really prepared and ready for it. I think one of the central tensions that we hear, and it's an underlying concept from most of our customers, is that there's a tension between two conflicting objectives. On one side, we have the focus on growth and improvement within our organizations, where we're looking at better talent acquisition. A lot of us planning to expand workforce, building new capabilities inside our businesses. But in the global economic environment today, that also has to be traded off with a strong push around efficiency. And this is where the tension comes in, is that we want to be better, we want to be bigger, but we also have to ensure that we do that with an eye to productivity, a pretty strict cost discipline, and the ability to make changes and make decisions more quickly. When we look at the process of, how are we thinking of the evolution of HR transformation, it works in steps, and we'll try to present a little bit of a basic model for that, which we're also happy to have more detailed individual discussions about in the future. But generically, transitioning from the operational HR focus, where we're primarily concerned with compliance tasks around things like payroll, attendance tracking, record keeping, and sort of traditional aspects of HR, certainly remains to be a very important and critical step to the process. But helping then to move to that next level of talent readiness, where we start looking at talent development in preparation for AI technologies, workforce planning around sizing of our workforce, but also around the skills management of the types of employees that we're going to be needing in the future. How do we build that internally and do external recruitment where necessary, to ensure that we have the talent availability for what's coming. And ultimately, what we're going to be looking at from SunFish side and technology that we're putting out today is the first steps towards creating, a truly predictive intelligence for the organization, where we can have more proactive decision making in the company. And this is where we feel that the concept of a HR decision engine becomes important. So some of the steps for building an HR decision engine, we feel requires kind of three fundamental layers. The first layer is establishing a good HR system of record that handles your compliance, employee self-service automation, and your basic HR processes. This is very critical because your HR resources will always be somewhat limited, and ensuring that your team is not, overburdened by the increasing complexity of compliance requirements, and the challenges for optimization and general management. Having a system in place that handles the core HR processes and helps you transition from sort of manual reporting requirements to a fully digital and automated experience is very important. This is something that's easy to start for customers, and we have decades of experience in that space. But we find that it's something that's easy to start. You can buy a software like SunFish, or take a variety of other approaches, and you can establish kind of the baseline of your system of record. It's a lot harder to make sure that that's a comprehensive source for data. And what we'll be looking at later in some of the AI technologies is that the quality of that data and the depth of that data is extremely important as a foundation layer for everything that you're going to do. Once you have that strong HR system of record and the underlying automation to free up your resources, then you're able to move on to more of a readiness process around the talent management. And here's where we're perhaps talking more specifically about AI today, is if we're looking at the expectation that we're going to need to adapt to all these new tools and accept rapid change in our organizations. So we need a strategy where we're going to be able to introduce AI to the company and start to modernize work processes, or rather, I think, innovate work processes into where we'd like to see them in the future. AI is something that comes with challenges and risks that needs to be managed as it's implemented in the organization. And it's best, from our perspective, is to take an approach where you implement AI step by step. And today we'll go through several of the demos with SunFish that show kind of our concept about bringing AI technologies into business that are done in a thoughtful and step-by-step process, so that we can ensure that it doesn't overwhelm or overpromise, and it has a long sustainability and improvement cycle built into it as it's adopted. Around talent readiness as well, is not everyone is perhaps fully ready or convinced to make these kind of adoptions. So it's often the case with new technologies that it faces resistance and challenges in organizations as it comes in. And it's important with the process to understand that change management is a real specialty, and it's something that takes a careful process and approach to achieve. One of the best ways that we feel you can prepare your talent for this is to develop internal champions within the organization that are able to kind of cheerlead and promote the concepts of AI technology, and to help people see and get excited about some of the benefits for that in the early stages. Finally, when we get to phase 3, so we actually start to maybe unlock some intelligence from this AI, and we start to see some benefits. So we have our talent ready, we have our data ready. Now we can start to implement the technologies such as workforce intelligence and AI hubs, multi-agent configurations, and others. So when we get to that initial adoption, then we need to also manage that process carefully as we roll out. So a step-by-step approach to rollout, where we are careful to support users and listen to people's feedback, because new technologies are inherently unstable and something that is new and takes time to have a good organizational fit. So having user support is a very critical process. Also in the phase 3 of unlocking the intelligence, so it's very important to have your champions really highlight results, so that we can see that tools that are coming in are not just flash and advertising, but rather are things that are actually achieving initial results. So really to look for what kind of results are we getting from the AI tool, the initial AI tools we're using, and then highlight those results. But similarly, with anything new, we can expect that it's not going to be a perfect fit for anyone's organization on day one. And it's important to identify where are the limitations from that. And when we look at this diagram here, where we have 3 phases, what I usually like to look at is that this is more of a cycle than a step-by-step with an end game. AI transformation or developing a digital engine is not a 1, 2, 3 finished process, but rather it's a journey where, as you reach phase 3 and you identify those limitations of either the technology or your adoption of it, it's time then to go back again to phase 1 and take a deeper look at what kind of data do we have, look again at our talent readiness, and start to make adjustments there so that we can move on to a next cycle where we unlock even more value. And as we go through that process, just be sure to highlight each of the goals and achievements of the process. So talking about an HR decision engine, what's the real shift here? And from our perspective, it's transitioning from the kind of HR system that we have at most of our customers today, where it's an HR system that tells us what happened. And a lot of our financial systems and other technologies, they're really there telling us what happened before. For example, we're keeping track of processes. We're doing manual reporting. We're recording historical events after they happen. From a talent to strategy perspective, we're looking at, okay, what jobs do we need to fill, and we're filling them. We have manual systems and some amount of skill gap. But most importantly, we're looking at data from a historical perspective, and we're trying to make adjustments for that. When we look at an HR decision engine, it changes, and we're not so much looking at what's happened in the past. We certainly need that data to be able to have a decision engine. But when we get to the level of a decision engine, we're now looking at not what has happened, but we're looking at what will happen. And even further, we're using systems, algorithmic and agentic systems to tell us not only what will happen, but what should we do about it. And these are examples of looking at turnover, for example, in our company. Well, it's possible to measure what our turnover rates are and how many employees we've lost in the past. But it's a little bit more challenging to predict which team is likely to have a high attrition risk in the future. Or looking at employees, we might understand historical skill gap, but looking at the future, where is that skill gap going to sit someday down the road? How has our cost changed in the past versus how do we see our labor cost, for example, evolving in the future? So ultimately, it's about moving from a system of recording the past to a process of shaping the future. This is not to say that AI is going to do everything for us, certainly. And yeah, we'll see from some of the demos that there's benefits, but there's significant limitations today to where AI can help us. But ultimately, what we're looking at is creating some amount of workload that we can start to transfer to AI, where AI provides tools of handling more repetitive tasks and processing, and I'll share some examples of that. AI helps us to access data, identify trends, and make predictions about the future based on historical data and benchmarks. And then human leaders are able to use that information to make nuanced judgment and relate that data to a true business context, as well as deal with strategic workforce decisions. So a simple rule here is that AI accelerates HR, humans lead the HR. So in the concept of a HR decision engine, so we see that there's three components of that. There's the HR core data layer. That's your foundation of your HR data, your payroll, your employee records, your attendance records are the core parts of that. And that can include things like training records and HCM data around things like historical performance, KPI, or even OKR records in that space. All of that record keeping and technology has to be combined with talent management skills. This is something that's supported by technology, but it's not technology by nature. And this is about looking at our talent intelligence layer and seeing, do we have the skills? Do we have job mobility to deal with changes and rebalancing of workloads initiated by AI? And do we have the ability to understand performance in that context? And finally, what we'll be looking at from a software perspective, which is SunFish's area of expertise, is the AI tools that are going to support us. These are things like predictive insights, automation, and analytics that we'll be looking at shortly. Ultimately, without strong data and strong people, AI is not going to deliver much value to you. But building those things today will allow us to take advantage of these AI technologies as we roll them out in the future. So what we've done in SunFish is we've looked at the concept of AI and implemented it widely throughout our software, of course, with consideration to security and privacy, which are certainly challenging issues to deal with in the AI space. But we've developed this in the concept of an AI hub within our software. And what this is kind of a front door to HR intelligence. and AI-enabled automation, analytics, and predictions within SunFish. One of the terms that you often hear in the news is agentic AI, or the concept of AI agents, and that's exactly what we've done with AI Hub. Is we've looked at many use cases of AI, and understanding that we have to also start from the bottom and build up. So we've worked from the concept of various different agents within the software that are able to do things like data analytics, enable AI functionality within the software, provide virtual assistants like chatbots, for example. And we've combined all of those into our AI Hub within SunFish. As the future evolves, we'll continue to consolidate those features into a more comprehensive and intelligent AI feature. But for today, I'd like to share with you some of those tools and individual smaller use cases, just to give an idea of things that we have in the market today. And then I'm going to go on a little bit later to talk about maybe what's coming next, and some of those exciting areas for the software. A key point here is that these AI tools, reports, and dashboards, they can help you to ask questions, generate insights, automate workflows. The idea is, instead of maybe creating a report manually, you'll be able to ask a chatbot, which departments have rising overtime cost, or where are other specific issues within our organization. So to take a look at some of those examples, maybe we have one first example here, where we're looking at a tool called Document Inquiry. This is part of our SunFish chatbot functionality that is used to help you manage your HR documentation. So you have things like your corporate policies, your operating procedures, and a variety of other documents that are going to exist within SunFish. SunFish is able to read these documents using what's called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. Essentially, it reads and learns and summarizes your documents into an AI readable format, so that all of the documentation that you have around your company, and particularly around the HR space, can be what we call ingested into the AI tools. When we do this, we're looking at, in this particular case, around document inquiry, we're looking at actual documents. So things like a PDF of your company's operating procedures, for example. Once those documents are ingested, then whatever number of documents that is, it can create the interactive chatbot to allow the user to query those documents without having to look things up or read through a bunch of files. When we do this, like many of the AI tools, and unfortunately I can't go all the way into details around security today, but just to share an example for this. So what we're doing is we're using a AI, which is a large language model that's hosted on our own servers, and it's not connected to the internet. It's able to read your documents and then create an index within each customer's individually encrypted database, so that all of your data is learned by AI, and it becomes available to AI, but none of that data ever leaves your encrypted SunFish environment. And the AI that is also within the SunFish secure hosted environment is the process that is able to do that. That's much different than using tools like ChatGPT, for example, or others, where you will be sending data outside your organization to a service provider that you may not have a legal or safe relationship with. All of this is kept walled within your safe SunFish system that already holds all your payroll data and secures it. So document inquiry is one of those types of features. As looking at an example that goes beyond documents is then looking at analytics and around reporting. So around reporting, we would have a similar kind of concept to the software where it's able to look at your data from the SunFish database and able to give you interactive analytics around that concept, around that data. So you would be able to, for example, look at your attendance data and be able to understand and your salary data and understand, for example, why did overtime increase this quarter, and be able to interactively analyze those reports, compare data across months, and identify what's driving those changes. This works consistently across all of the data that you can generate reports on in SunFish. So it's able to also analyze that data. And it works within your security context. So you're able to analyze the data for the things that you have in your system that you've already gained access to. So as a user, if you're allowed to see it in SunFish, you can also interactively analyze it. If you're not allowed to see it, you won't be able to access that data for analytical purposes, of course. Another similar use case would be something like a resource booking, or what we would say probably is a more interactive type of function. So where we looked on reports or documents, those are basically analyzing things. But SunFish can also support you with interactive tools where you're able to interactively use the software. So for a resource booking, like let's say booking a meeting room, for example, or a car usage for the day, you would be able to do that through SunFish resource booking functions, the same way that you could, for example, request to leave. Now you're able to do that for functions through a chat interface. And the system will guide you through the process of, what meeting rooms are available. Is it a training room? And it will help you with your scheduling. But generically, this kind of functionality can be used across a lot of different functions where you need to interact with the software. But perhaps some of the features you're interacting with, you're a little bit less familiar how to use the traditional way of entering those requests. Another case is where we're going to look at is automated checking. So in SunFish, so you're able to use AI tools to automate validation of data. So what we're looking at right now is a sample with an expense claim where the user has submitted an expense claim from SunFish Mobile, and they've taken a photo of their receipt, and they've claimed 1.5 million rupiah for the expense, perhaps in error because when the AI looks at the actual receipt, it uses OCR, which is optical character recognition, to analyze the photo of the receipt, locate what is the amount on the claim, and other information like the location of the claim or the provider, and it can validate those against what the employee has requested. And in this case, the employee's requested 1.5 million rupiah, where the receipt value is 1,050,000 rupiah. These kind of tools can be used across a variety of different functions within the system to help validate data, to create inquiries against information that has been. The system can look at claims data, but similarly, it can look at other information across the application for validating information from things like CVs or other processes. Good. Another example that we can look at, again, is another use case of where AI fits in a little bit differently this time. So we're looking at this time at content generation. In this sample, we can see how SunFish is helping us to create test questions for employees as part of the SunFish training module and e-learning functionality. So when we're creating the training course for employees, we're able to say, for example, upload content like PDF or video documents. SunFish can read those documents and analyze the content that the user is being trained on, and then it will help to generate the questions and the tests for the users. Content generation in this case can be used in a lot of areas, and is currently available in SunFish in a variety of areas around things like just simple things, for example, like writing job descriptions. The software can understand, what is the reporting relationship, skill requirements of employees, and even their performance targets, and it can then extract that data and help you to write a job description. It's also used in areas such as like performance appraisals, where we've rated employees across multiple criteria. The AI can then help to suggest to us what the written comments would be for the employee's performance review. It can be used in things like action planning and many other areas already within the software. Interesting new functions include features to generate e-learning courses. So where you have something like, say, PDF procedural documents and materials that define what the employee needs to be trained on, those don't make very engaging or interesting e-learning content. But the AI tool can then, read your documentation, determine the content, and it can actually generate a full e-learning training course from that you can then go back and edit and modify or improve. Within another case within SunFish is looking at applicants and job fit. So here what we do is we compare a variety of information around applicants that have come in through our e-learning system. The e-learning system uses AI extensively to help improve that process, which we know can be somewhat time-consuming. So it will, for example, when the employee logs in to submit their CV in the application, then the system will automatically use OCR and analysis tools to extract data from their CV and pre-fill the applicant form. It also will help us to do quick filtering by comparing applicants. And then even once we've gone through the interview process, testing, and other areas with the applicants, AI can help us compare against many applicants to get kind of an independent job fit score developed from all the information that we've collected throughout the recruitment process. Ultimately, these kind of tools can help us really improve our time to hire, as well as helping us get better team profile mixtures, because the hiring people often may not understand entirely what kind of team the people are joining, whereas the AI can look against the profiles of other employees within the team they'll be joining, and it can help to make recommendations for personal fit to both the job requirements and the team style of working. Okay, the SunFish also has the ability to combine multiple kinds of data and create things like an entire HR insight report for you. This is something like an executive report in this sample, where we're going to combine data from all parts of the system across things like performance and payroll, demographic data of our employees, turnover, and other information. And we want to generate something like that with AI. Of course, we're not going to let AI run wild within our system, but rather we let it do an initial analysis across multiple different data points and combine those data. Just recently, we're now able to use that data and compare it against expected benchmarks so that we can develop like an overall workforce score that's going to compare your HR performance against international benchmarks. So here we're able to look at combining, multiple different types of data. And as we do this within the system, so we're combining several different statistics against targets. The system is then giving us overall rankings against where we would expect to be. And it's helping produce the analysis of that for the report. Not just the analysis of, what is the outcome of the data, but what are the insights and what can we do about it? Of course, HR is not our overlord. It's going to tell us how to run our business. What it's doing is producing a first draft for us of things that we should be considering and addressing. And then we can work either with AI to have AI refine the messaging or the analysis interactively. Or ultimately, of course, we can edit the final output that we're preparing so that when we've completed our analysis and our preparation, we're then able to generate a quite comprehensive report. In this case, it's our Workforce Executive Health Index that's comparing a variety of performance metrics for our business against standards and using the analysis that you've developed together with the support of AI into a comprehensive report, in this case, generating as a PDF report that you can share with management or use as a briefing in your strategic sessions. Another use case that we've implemented and we're just preparing for a rollout shortly is the use of AI within payroll. Again, payroll data is highly private and confidential. So we've worked carefully to design an infrastructure where all of the LLM models are completely segmented by customer and secured in our data center. These are also tools that are optional for customers to test and adopt. But once customers determine that they want to adopt these kind of tools in the future, SunFish provides you with AI tools to support your payroll processing. This is one of the really interesting areas for us because as a group, we operate one of the largest payroll outsourcing services in Southeast Asia, where we provide payroll outsourcing to many companies throughout the region. And we really know, how challenging payroll processing can be. Certainly, SunFish automates a lot of your payroll process and calculation for you and your reporting and analytics. But even with that, there's still there's still quite a bit of process that can require hours every pay cycle for your pay managers to check and validate the payroll. So what SunFish does is we started with the payroll cycle that a lot of our clients will be familiar with, where we define the step-by-step approach to the payroll process several years ago. And we've continued to enhance that with analytics and process so that the AI is now able to start to perform a lot of those validation functions automatically. For example, the AI can look at your data and it can automatically highlight things like anomalies, trends, and risks, and give you the ability to then drill down into that information. Once you've done the kind of the initial payroll process, then you're going to see some of the output of that. You can then dig into details of that, looking for things, for example, like salary spikes, where salaries have changed or unusual changes in deductions, and a lot of information that would typically be found in the period comparison reports, where you would look at, how has payroll been changing. and then dig deeper into the analysis of those issues, investigate them, and then determine that everything is acceptable, or if perhaps there could be any errors in the calculations. This works as well around things where you're going to have to do sensitive contributions and compliance reporting for providence funds, for example. So here we see an example for the system analyzing the BPJS contributions, and it's comparing against previous periods and changes, but it's also doing a recalculation of the BPJS to ensure that the system determined calculation is correctly matched against the actual mandated contributions. This sample is for BPJS, which is a Indonesian insurance format, but it works similarly for Malaysia for EPF and SOXO, Singapore for CPF and donations, Thailand for your SSO and your providence contributions, or Vietnam for your SHUI or social health and unemployment insurance, as well as, of course, for Philippines, SSS, PhilHealth, and HDMF contributions. So all of these can be kind of recalculated and checked and validated by the software. Ultimately, then, this is producing the summary of the insights that you validated, any detected anomalies around things like taxes or trend changes, and allows you to hopefully move from fully manual checking to a somewhat more automated process, as well as being maybe more proactive than reactive to changes, and not missing any kind of compliance gaps or even potentially risky trends that are technically correct, but may impact cost performance over the long term. The process additionally includes extra checking, which is a really interesting area where we have AI that is learning your payroll over time, and it's starting to be able to identify extra checks or validation that may be needed, where the AI can actually determine which areas need additional validation and checking, and then start to perform those automatically. Finally, when you're done with the payroll processing, you also have tools to be able to investigate and check things, which any of us that have done payroll as paymasters in the past know that we spend a lot of time in Excel making formulas and looking stuff up, doing totals and comparing. A lot of that now can be done by the AI just through a chat interface, where you can ask the AI to investigate, for example, why the payroll increased in the month, and then the AI can immediately identify what the changes in the value were, and you're able to interactively kind of drill down and analyze additional things without the needs to go back to modeling in Excel as one example. So I think those are several of the examples that we've implemented already in SunFish, and that we're continuing to work on next level of development for. But the technology change in AI is just amazingly fast, and we're seeing things that are just really, really incredible opportunities for where we can go with HR. Certainly, the diagram I have on the screen now is somewhat technical with a lot of abbreviations, but this is a little bit of an example of how the technology works in the future and what we're looking at as a next stage for where HR technology can be going in the future. And these are things that we're working on infrastructure development for, and still considering issues around privacy and data security, and certainly nothing that we'll be rolling out in the short term. But I thought it would be interesting today to share some of those, insights that we have and what we're experimenting with internally, because we feel like these are likely going to be significant changes in HR technology in the future. What one of these areas is around the concept of integrating your HR software directly with AI large language models. And I'll explain how this works in a little bit of detail now, and then share with you some examples of how exciting it can be. The concept here is also something that's pretty controversial. And in fact, if anyone's been monitoring the news, you may have seen that software companies like ours and many of our competitors have had significant impact in their stock prices over the last month. And a lot of that is because people are starting to see the potential of this kind of change coming to software. At DataOn, we're not scared of change. We're focused on providing the best possible solutions to our customers. So we're already working towards how we can adopt these technologies into our products. So this concept is looking at what a decision engine can look like in the future when we have a full AI support, and the AI is in real time able to build the software that we're interacting with. Whereas a product like SunFish is something that we produce, test, and release to the market over a long period, and our customers then, subscribe to that product. The concept around AI that we'll look at with MCP integration is about software that actually builds itself in real time based on your needs. So this works from looking at your HR data. These are your databases, interfaces to other systems, and HR documents, and connecting those to application programming interfaces, and right now concepts like retrieval augmented generation to be able to create a clear vision of that data or a structured way of looking at that data. That then connects to an interpolation layer, which in this example that I'll show is using MCP. MCP stands for Module Context Protocol. This is essentially a way of letting a large language model, like we're familiar with ChatGPT and Gemini, or Claude from Anthropic, letting those models then look at our data and understand the meaning of the data. So not just the simple data, but the data with context, that the AI is then able to understand that data and also what to do with it. The connection then from the MCP interpolation layer can then talk to the AI and use the AI to connect back to SunFish to create essentially an interface to the software for you in real time, however you define it. These things have security considerations, and it's something that we're still working through. So these are not released yet, but I'll just share with you some examples. In this example here, I'm using Claude to connect to SunFish. And I'm asking the system to just design me an organization chart and provide me the data. But then maybe the organization chart that I get, I'd like it to have job descriptions on the organization chart. When I mouse over it, I'd like to see the tenure of the employees, how many they report to, or even I want to change that organization chart to be in a circular format. So then I can just ask the chatbot to be able to develop that, and it will, in real time, then rebuild the front-end interface to the system in HTML and give me the kind of output that I'm looking for. In another example we can look at would be an example around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Maybe we'd like to have a different kind of analysis for DEI data. So all I need to do is say, review my data and create me a DEI dashboard. and the system will then automatically generate a completely new dashboard for that data, including areas around diversity, inclusion, overviews, pipeline for changes, and even a benchmark scoring. It can do this by accessing the data in SunFish and then developing a brand new HTML interface in real time. For the videos I'm showing you today, these are sped up slightly from the time around 5 minutes to generate. They're down to a few seconds. But the idea that today already we can have a interactive AI tool generating our user interface and our access to data in only a few minutes. These are things that may have required a month of customization to the software to provide to customers in the past, can now be done directly by our customers in real time. Those are just some examples of where we're technologies that we're looking at adopting in the future. I think they're very exciting, and we're happy to maybe share more of those trends with you as they evolve, as well as hopefully shortly being able to release some previews to those kinds of technologies. But overall, today, SunFish has a wide range of information that helps create the decision engine model. And our team has quite a bit of experience working with companies within the region in that change management and transition process to be able to move from a somewhat administrative type of role into more of a decision engine concept for their HR. I think in summary, my key points today is that HR today needs to move at business speed. It means decision cycles need to be shortened dramatically. This requires not just data, but the talent of the people within the organization and the tools and technologies that are becoming available to make that happen. AI, it should be something that's accelerating HR. It's not there to replace HR. The future of HR is probably something more around HR intelligence, organizations that are able to combine that HR data, AI insights, and use it for leadership decisions. We feel are ultimately going to be the kinds of companies that are going to be more successful than others. Our goal as a business is to support you, and we're excited by the opportunity to continue on that journey with our customers. Okay, for me, that's my content for today. So thank you everyone for listening, and I'll hand back over to Vio for any questions that we have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordon, for the insightful presentation. To briefly recap, building HR into a strategic decision engine starts with 3 foundations, as Mr. Gordon mentioned in his presentation. So first is to establish a strong core HR system of record. Second, to assess workforce readiness through talent and skill development. And third, unlocking intelligence through AI Hub and workforce intelligence. All right, we'll now move into the Q&A session. For those of you who like to ask questions, please feel free to write your questions in the Q&A box using the format name, company, and questions. We already have the questions coming in, so let me start with the first one from Novita Wijaya. At the executive level, do you think AI will mainly help HR become faster, or do you believe it will fundamentally change how workforce decisions are made? You may answer the question, Mr. Gord.
Great, thanks for the question. My opinion is that I think over time we're probably looking at some amount of fundamental change in the way that we do things. But really where we are today, we're at the very early stages of this. Only a few years ago, AI was it was a technology concept that honestly didn't really have much interest from anyone until we started to see use cases by tools like certainly ChatGPT, Gemini, and some of the other great providers that have been able to move from a technology concept of large language models into something that can actually be helpful. But we've all been using AI. A lot of things I'm telling you, I'm sure everyone's familiar with today, right? These things are new. We're all using them every day, but they're not the entire answer to very complex things yet. I feel like we can see from the samples of SunFish today, which is one of the leaders in this technology. We've got some great use cases out there and tools to support you, but it's far from becoming a total game changer today. So what I think is that we'll see AI as a tool that's going to support decision making and analytics. It can help with some amount of language generation and content generation today. But over the longer term of several years, we may start to see that it starts to bring substantial changes. One of the things that my shareholders ask about and analysts call me about is this the game changer that's going to wipe out the software industry? They have a term for this. It's called the SaaS. We're a SaaS provider. They call it the SaaScopolis. SaaScopolis, which is that these things will be a huge change. From my perspective, we've been through this process. Old people like me were around when we started to move from back-end simple HR systems into web technology. People thought that would be the game changer because everything would become automated and employees would do everything by self-service. We wouldn't. I heard people say back then, we won't need payroll service anymore. We won't need HR people anymore. And what we can see after the result of all the technology and the hard work is that we need HR professionals even more today than we did back then. We need them to do a bit of a different job, where HR professionals are leaders within an organization, and the value of people has become, particularly in countries like Indonesia and Southeast and other Southeast Asian countries, people have become so important to our organizations that HR's role in supporting and developing those people is more critical today than it's ever been in the past. So that technology change, didn't have the impact that some people predicted. And I think the AI technology change will largely see a different kind of work in the future, but not a different level of work. Hopefully, if we're able to take advantage of these technologies early, then we're able to gain the advantage from them ahead of our competitors. And I think probably most importantly is that if we're going to take advantage, we need a strategy. We need a plan. The AI technologies that we're seeing today are not the real things that we're using yet. We need preparation first. We need the right kind of data. We need the right kind of skills and structure to utilize the tools before we get there. So the change will be step by step, but I do believe we'll see a significantly different kind of work as we go through this process.
All right. Thank you so much for the answer, Mr. Gordon. So let's move on to the next question. Hi, I'm Rafael from MRA Group. I have a question. How do we make sure AI-driven insights do not become too theoretical? What needs to be in place so that leaders actually trust and act on the recommendations?
Yeah, certainly the data that AI everyone knows the term AI slop, right? I think there's a big concern with users that AI is theoretical and abstract, and also that it's just over generating more slop for us to deal with, right? Our staff can produce reports at 100 times the speed, but managers can't read any faster. So there's a danger to the way that AI is changing things, and it's something that that we have to create a balance to. Just as software allows us to perform more compliance functions, and to make our organizations collect more data, the amount of data today that's collected by software is just utterly overwhelming. And this is looking at the past as an indicator for the future, which may not always be accurate, but we see the challenges of 20 years of HR software adoption, generating just masses of HR data that it becomes a full-time job of things like data scientists today, to be able to get any valuable knowledge out of that information. And those kind of challenges, I think you're quite right. I think those kind of challenges persist, and change with AI. Is that AI is a tool. It's not our overlord, which is, I think, a common term that we're seeing, where companies should be, completely driven by what the AI tells us to do. I have an interesting conversation with one of our customers, whose CEO was, quite taken by just the power of some of the AI tools, and they were essentially saying, "Well, the AI told our business we have to do this, so go do it." And largely, it seemed that the AI was the CEO was allowing himself to be replaced by an AI tool that would run the business. And I think yeah, we can see the danger in those kind of stories, people easily think that AI knows sometimes a lot more than it does, and everyone's experience with tools like ChatGPT, or Gemini, which I mentioned because they're perhaps the most commonly used. It sounds very confident when it talks to you, but it may not be right, and it may hallucinate, or misinterpret. So one of the skills that we need to encourage in our talent in our organization is probably the ability to differentiate between that and know when tools can be used and give us something reliable, and when they can't. Thank you for that question.
All right, thanks for the answer, Mr. Gordon. The next, okay, many questions about AI. Greetings. You mentioned cloud in the presentation as an example of future workforce intelligence. In practical terms, how should CHROs think about tools like cloud today, as an experiment, a strategic assistant, or something else?
I showed Claude in my example today as the large language model that can connect to SunFish using the module context protocol. MCP is a specific protocol developed by Anthropic. Anthropic is the owner of the Claude software. And I use that as an example because it's a very powerful tool. But it's something like, for example, it's something that DataOn would not use in our customer-facing applications today, because we're not comfortable with sending data to a third party. So we use internally hosted LLMs, which are completely disconnected from the internet. And I deliberately didn't get into the complexities and issues around AI technology security and privacy management today, because it by itself, I think, is a whole lengthy topic. But as CHROs and CPOs and business leaders Today, I think you do need to build some sort of a framework for when these tools can be used and when they can't. And I've seen a lot of organizations say no AI ever. You can't use anything. Um, that's a dangerous thing to do because it really limits the ability of your employees to adopt the technology. But it may be safer than saying go nuts and upload your salary file to ChatGPT and ask it to analyze your payroll. Is also obviously a very risky thing because you're essentially giving a third party to which you have no legal relationship, complete access to some of your most confidential data. So I feel you'll probably need to create some balance there between what kind of things you use these tools for, and which kinds of things you're going to be blocking the usage for. There's interesting strategies to do that, but given the time today, I think perhaps and it's a little bit technical, but there's some interesting strategies to determining how you anonymize data and then enable that for use by third-party AI sources. We'd be happy to spend some more time talking about that in probably some greater level of technical detail. But I would say the tools are the generic tools that are out there are great, but there's a risk. If you have a strategy to mitigate the risk and manage it, that's wonderful. If you don't, that's why we companies your providers like DataOn, for example, that already has your data and secures it. We're working to provide really a lot of the same tools that you may be able to operate independently from third parties. And perhaps a balance between third-party available tools for less sensitive data and then in-house tools which inherently will be limited for things that are more confidential and sensitive. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next questions from Adam Kugama. For organizations that are not yet fully mature in people analytics, what is the most realistic way to begin building confidence in AI-assisted HR decisions?
I think all of our organizations we have some data around analytics. In an earlier part of the presentation, I looked at like some of the HR data that we need and said, it's easy to get HR data. It's hard to get perfect and comprehensive HR data. If you're looking to build confidence, I think the most important things that you can get are going to be looking at historical data that you track well, things like I think things like demographic data on your company, for example, are often quite easy to get and structured, whereas information around things like talent data and analytics around your performance data can be a lot more challenging. And I can share that as we were looking at adopting AI technologies, we've done many experiments and been through many different types of approaches to it. Even internally in our own company, it was hard to get our developers that deal with such complex information to take these technologies seriously at the early stage. And it took going back and saying, okay, what can we actually do 6 months or 12 months ago? What can we actually get from these AI tools that can be something that is that demonstrates the power? And this is where like a cheerleader within your organization that's looking for the opportunity to bring these tools in can start to find, real use cases that demonstrate the power of it. Because if we look for an AI solution that's going to run our company for us, and do everything for us, and anything less than that is considered a failure, we'll never get there. So we need to start with smaller use cases around things that we actually have, and what kind of problems do we need to solve. I'm certainly not saying go generate a problem to fit the data you have so you can solve it, is not the point, but rather to work with the data that you have initially, to find which of your problems and which of your challenges you can address early on. And from there, you start to develop competency and respect for the technology, so that you can move on to more challenging stages where you go back and start to collect the kind of structured data, or even change approaches to things like talent management. Talent management that's highly subjective is inherently going to be difficult to do statistical analysis on. If your structure is a subjective approach to talent management, you're going to have more of a challenge. But when you change to more of like number driven or objective approaches, you're probably able to analyze that data better. Having said that, the power of AI is in analyzing vast amounts of information. So when you have things like performance reviews with detailed comments that are stored, this kind of information can actually be extremely powerful, because you're able to look for trends across mass amounts of data that's, text comments on people's performance, and garner analytics from that in a way that would be impossible for humans to do, just because of the vast amount of data. I'm not sure that really answers your question, but I think it's a balanced approach that is required, and to figure out where your steps and stages are, and it's something that our consulting team is also very happy to discuss with you and see if we can provide perhaps some references from use cases at other customers that may be helpful in your journey.
All right. Since the time is running out, so let's go with another two questions. Hi, I'm Serena. So efficiency pressure is real, and that can create anxiety across the workforce. My question is, how can CHRO use AI and workforce intelligence to make better decisions without damaging trust?
So I think what you're asking, all of our companies are under pressure in today's economy to improve efficiency, and focus on profitability. AI is something that people are, I think there's a lot of fear in the world right now about how this may impact our jobs in the future. The number of times that I hear in the news that AI is going to replace all of our jobs is I think it can be terrifying to anyone. I think as leaders in this space, all of us have experience, and we know that that's not the case, right? We're not looking at a shift where AI is going to replace everyone's job, certainly anytime in the next few years. And I think as leaders, it's our responsibility to look for efficiency improvements that can be done in a way that isn't going to create that kind of unemployment. The point there is probably where we talked about talent readiness. One of my points in the earlier slides wasn't just about getting people new skills, but it was about encouraging job mobility. And what we will see as a result of AI, even in our own use in HR, is going to be that it's going to take away some work. That's the point. It's going to make things more efficient. Our job as leaders is to, not blindly implement things that are going to displace people's work, but rather establish a model of job mobility, so that people are able to change from one type of work to another type. And this is where companies will see the productivity increase, right? So let's imagine that our company is doing well and we have a 25% net profit margin, right? Somebody will tell us it would be great if that was 50%. But as we look through the history of technology change, going back as far as 60 or 80 years, those have not been true cases, right? The economy has grown. New technology has helped the world be more productive, but the companies of yesterday did not get new technology and move from a 25% profit margin to a 99% profit margin, right? The profitability of companies will naturally adjust to a certain stable level. What this tells us is that the employment cost as a proportion overall of our business is actually something that is a continuously increasing cost on average for businesses during periods of technology change. And going through that technology change means your company will become more productive. It doesn't mean you're going to have less employees. It does mean that some people's jobs will change. So being upfront about that and clear is an important step. And I'll just say, although my time's too long on this topic, I'll just say that things we see in the news where Oracle cut 10,000 employees to pay for more AI data centers is one of the worst things that really damages trust around this process. It's both untrue and not really accurate news reporting, just as much as it's something that's very dangerous. Within your own company, it's I think very important to encourage trust with your employees and help them understand how long these changes are going to take, because it's going to be a long time, and that you have a plan in place. Because if you say we're doing nothing, don't worry, we'll never let AI in this company, your jobs are safe, nobody's going to believe that. So where you are adopting it, having a plan and communicating it, I believe can dispel a lot of the fear around changes that are initiated by AI.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Gord. Okay, one more question before we end the Q&A session. Hi, this is Joey from Monarch Equipment Corp in the Philippines. As we increasingly rely on AI-driven decision engines in HR, how do you prevent the risk of these systems reinforcing existing bias or creating new ones while still making bold data-driven decisions that truly transform the workforce?
Right. I think there's two ways to look at this. Is technology in general, and AI more specifically, it has the opportunity to actually remove bias and discrimination from the process. The computer doesn't care what color your skin is, or what country you're from, or what language you speak. It really just doesn't care. That I think your point is that can be dangerous because it doesn't know better, and I think that's a valid point. But the opportunity comes when we use these technologies correctly, is we can actually remove bias and discrimination from these processes, because we're using data-driven processes that are transparent indicators of decision intelligence. And that's a big opportunity to improve this. On the other side, as you rightly point out, the AI doesn't know better. And it can violate what we as humans know naturally is the proper way to approach issues of equity and discrimination and bias reduction. And it just won't care, I think, frankly. That's why AI is a tool to support information gathering. And it's not there to make decisions for you. It's there to help you gather data and understand it. And if it's implemented and used carefully in that way, I think the ultimate outcome is hopefully a world where we are able to see better equity, more diversity, more inclusion through reduction of bias and discrimination. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of our time for today's Q&A. And for any questions that we may not be able to address during today's session, please don't worry. We will collect them and follow up with the responses by email after the webinar. And we truly appreciate your participation and engagement throughout the session. All right, before we close, may I ask you to stay on screen for a quick screenshot together? All right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gordon, for all your time and very wonderful presentation and all the discussion. You may now leave the session, and I hope everyone in this webinar can gain more insights about all the decision engine for HR. And yeah, Mr. Gordon, you may leave earlier. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. All right. Before we end the session, I'd like to share some information again. All right. Before we end today's webinar, I'd like to kindly remind everyone to fill out the feedback form. You can scan the QR code shown on the screen now, or click the link in the chat box to access the form. We'll give you a moment now to scan the QR code. We will share the speaker's presentation materials to your email and the HR readiness checklist provided after you complete the feedback form. So for those of you who haven't filled out the form, we won't send the presentation materials. Yeah, because your feedback is truly valuable and will help us improve and deliver an even better webinar next time. All right. And we have good news for our value DataOn clients. You can receive special rewards by sharing your review on g2.com or gartner.com. It's a review platform. By scanning this barcode, for more information, please feel free to contact SunFish HR team. Yeah. After the webinar concludes, so you will receive this 2026 HR readiness checklist. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, to receive this material, we kindly ask you to complete the feedback form that will be displayed at the end of the session. Oh, please back to QR code. I can click the link. All right. Wait a second. Yeah. Please scan on the screen. All right. And don't forget to follow Data on social media to stay updated on our insights and updates. And yeah, so I'm Fiona signing off. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. See you at the next SunFish Engage webinar. Bye.